Hello and welcome to National Focus. I'm your presenter Mervin. Thank you for joining us. Topping the headlines, public servants make a donation to a senior citizen's home. A call for value-added investments in agriculture and the Government Information Service to host post-budget discussion. All these stories and more when National Focus returns. Welcome back. Time now for the details of the news. The first meeting of the further session of the 8th Parliament gets underway at the House of Assembly on Tuesday. At that meeting, Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Foreign Affairs and Information Technology, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, will seek Parliament's approval for estimates of expenditure amounting to over $437 million for the financial year ending June 30, 2013. Dominica's Head of State, His Excellency Dr. Nicholas Liverpool, will address Parliament after inspecting contingents of officers of the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force, Fire and Ambulance Services, and the Dominica State Prison. The entire proceedings of the Tuesday's meeting, including the budget presentation, will be broadcast live on GIS Channel 7 on both SAT Telecommunications and Mapping Telecoms and Broadcasting from 10 a.m. Efforts are being made locally to manage the presence of fruit flies on the island. The Plant Protection Officer Ryan Ansem told GIS News Monday Dominican farmers have been affected by fruit flies for over 30 years.
Farmers has been getting significant decrease in terms of their population, in terms of the reduction in fruits and the export market. So the strategy is to maintain the fruit sector in terms of fresh fruits for the domestic market and for export market. And fruit fly and the mango seed weevil has been a deterrent in terms of the export market. And part of our strategy is to maintain the levels of export, manage the fruit fly that is causing serious reduction in fruits.
Alice Vances Muller is head of the Carambola Fruit Fly program in Suriname. She is part of a two-member delegation who will be visiting farms, meeting with extension officers and plant protection and quarantine unit this week.
The message we will be taking out is to recognize fruit flies and what they could do themselves in fruit fly management. There are quite a number of methods they could apply in the field, not only the destruction of fruit flies by destroying fruits, but also biological control, trapping, bait spraying. So there's quite a lot of things they could do.
She explained to GIS News that the management of fruit flies is not a difficult undertaking.
Everybody could do that, at least part of it. Everybody who has fruit trees in their own home and finds larvae in the fruits, they can destroy those. Because if they would leave them on the ground, the larvae would penetrate in the soil, they would emerge again as flies, and they would again infest fruits that you have in your garden or in your neighbor's garden. So if you destroy those fruits that are infested, you already do a lot in managing fruit flies.
Other Caribbean islands have shared similar challenges with fruit flies. Paul Graham is Pest Management Officer in the Ministry of Agriculture in Grenada.
For a number of years, from 1985, Grenada was declared fruit fly free of fruit flies of quarantine significance. But in 2002, we had the introduction of the West Indian fruit fly, Anastrophe obliqua, which you have here. Now, one of the differences is that you have, well, we have it on plums, hog plums, yellow plums, red plums, June plums, which is golden apple. It's a limited host range, periodically guavas. Here you have it on mangoes. We don't have it on mangoes in Grenada. So it's the same fruit fly but with different behavior.
Graham told GIS News Monday that his government has made progress in its attempts to manage the presence of fruit flies. Based on his experience, he intends to make recommendations to Dominica's farmers and agricultural officials on methods of managing fruit fly population.
We would want Dominica to use a more integrated approach, especially because farmers are complaining that their fruits are attacked more and more. We're also going to send a message that there is a lot they could do themselves. cultural practices. You have a fruit tree that's heavily infested, bag up the fruits, destroy them, feed them to animals, bag them up, keep them in a bag for a few days, and that would be sufficient to kill or to break the life cycle, because I would call it a vicious cycle. You have the adult female laying eggs in fruits. At some stage, the fruits drop to the ground, the larvae jump out of the fruit, then go into the soil, they pupate there, and then you have the flies emerging. Now, if you harvest all the fruits that are infested and you destroy them, obviously it means for the next season you're going to have less flies. And if you have less flies, you have less infestation, and it's nothing magical. It's something a farmer could do.
The Dominica National Petroleum Company Limited has joined the forces with the National Bank of Dominica to assist the island's business sector. On Monday, the NBD formally launched a productive sector development loan during the press conference at its branch office in Canefield.
This initiative is consistent with our bank's tradition to provide solutions to our customers and enrich their lives and facilitate in the national growth and development. In this current environment, we are keen on providing solutions that are relevant to our customers' needs. We all know the many challenges being faced by this sector, and NBD is offering a solution today that will aid in one critical area, the area of financing.
The program targets small and medium-sized businesses in productive sector with a focus on agriculture, manufacturing, agro-processing, trade, and tourism.
Through this program, we will provide startup capital for new businesses, as well as financing for growth and expansion initiatives for existing enterprises in these sectors.
The Dominica National Petroleum Company Limited will provide the funding to the NBD for on-lending to potential borrowers at an interest rate of 6.5%. The new loan facility will provide opportunities to business people with new ideas or those wishing to expand their own business. As part of government's growth and social protection strategy for 2012 to 2014, business development was cited as one of the key areas of focus. The strategy seeks to increase the contribution of manufacturing and agro-industries to Dominica's GDP and to increase income and employment for the small business sector. Staff and residents of the Northern District Home for the Aged have benefited from the charity of the Public Outreach Committee. The Public Outreach Committee, operating under the Establishment, Training and Personnel Department at the government headquarters, on Friday donated a washing machine and built an outside sink for the home. The contribution was planned by the committee as part of activities leading up to Public Service Day in December this year. Malcolm St. Rose, who is a member of the committee, made the official presentation.
It is an opportunity for us to give as public officers. The Bible says, to whom much is given, much is required. And it is more blessed to give than to receive. And so, public officers throughout the length and breadth of this island have come together, made their donations felt by way of cash in making this presentation of a washing machine possible for the residents of the Northern District Home for the Aged. So on behalf of the Public Outreach Committee of the Ministry or the Establishment Department, and of course public officers by extension, we present this washing machine to this home, and we trust that it will, the fact that it is a gift, it will be much appreciated, and we also pray for long life for it, that it could serve them well.
The chairperson for the Board of Directors of the Northern District Home for the Aged, Augustus Seja, received the gift with many thanks.
On behalf of the Northern District Home for the Aged Board of Directors, the residents and staff, I just want to thank the public service for their kind donation, the gesture of love. It is given in love.
Members of the Outreach Committee with shovels and pickaxes in hand immediately commenced work on the outside sink. The donation was funded by contributions from public servants. The theme for the observance of Public Service Day 2012 is Our Public Service Transforming, Modernizing, Positively Changing. In other news, Agriculture Minister Honorable Matthew Walter has called on the private sector to invest in value-added agriculture as a means of creating employment and improving the local economy. The minister made the call during a recent town hall meeting in Benz. Honorable Walter is suggesting that prospective investors consider investing in the cocoa industry.
We can add value. We can add value, okay, and we can manufacture byproducts too, okay, from many of the raw materials that we produce, agricultural raw materials that we produce in Dominica. For example, cocoa, all right? The byproducts that can be manufactured from cocoa. Many of us like chocolate, but we import a large quantity of chocolate in this country. But we have the raw material, okay? Who in the private sector can take the risk and invest in the manufacturing of chocolate and other byproducts coming from the raw material cocoa?
The minister singled out the citrus industry as another possible option for potential investors wishing to add value to Dominica's agricultural produce.
We also speak in relation to an abundance of citrus fruits. Wasting all over the place, mangoes wasting. Are you following what I mean? But we can add value to all the mangoes that we have wasting there, all the oranges and grapefruits and limes. But somebody has to do it, because central government cannot do all. But central government has put in place the incentives, and in addition, we can partner with you as a potential investor, okay, or in the form of a consortium to invest in transforming or in adding value to many of the agricultural raw materials that we have in Dominica.
The minister also highlighted all the agricultural produce which investors could add value to, including ginger and dashing. The minister is convinced that this option is a practical one and, if considered, will bring about a positive turnaround in the economy and create much needed employment. With the scheduled phase-out of American Eagle from its San Juan, Puerto Rico base approaching, the government of Dominica is now in discussion with Air BVI, exploring the possibilities of scheduling increased flights into Dominica. Concerns are mounting about the impact that Eagle's pullout will have on passengers getting into the country, especially students attending medical schools here. American Eagle announced to employees recently that the San Juan base will be closed by March 2013. Parliamentary representative for the Cottage constituency, Honorable Reginald Austri, told a recent town hall meeting in Benz that the government is now holding discussions with Air BVI to explore the possibilities of purchasing or leasing new airplanes to accommodate increased flights into Dominica.
We have in fact been talking with Air BVI. I have attended several meetings with Air BVI and Ross University, trying to see if we can work a sort of tripartite arrangement with Ross, with the government of Dominica and Air BVI, to see if they can buy the 2 or 3 new planes or lease the new planes that they need. And I believe that discussions are still ongoing in that regard. But we have our eyes on Air BVI because we see that as one of the solutions to the difficulties we're going to be having in the event that when American Eagle withdraws their services from Dominica.
Currently, American Eagle serves Dominica with 896 seats from San Juan on a weekly basis. Air BVI now has 6 weekly flights coming into Dominica, with its main offices located in Tortola. Reports indicate that the American Eagle airline is now overhauling its routes and the international operations in the wake of American Airlines' ongoing bankruptcy restructuring process. And finally, this news time, the Government Information Service will host a post-budget exercise to obtain views from the general public following the presentation of the 2012 to 2013 National Budget on Tuesday, July 16, 2012. The post-budget discussion, to be carried live on both Mapping and SAT on Channel 7 from 6:30 p.m. will be moderated by Kamala John Baptist Aaron. The discussion will be led by eminent speakers including Dr. Lennox Honeychurch, ALBA Coordinator Ambassador Dr. Philbert Aaron, economist McAfee Marie, and Principal Advisor in the Office of the Prime Minister, Edward Lambert. Entrepreneurs, traditional institutions, district councils, civil society groups, youth organizations, academics and the students will be invited to share their thoughts on the budget for 2012-2013. Members of the public wishing to participate in the live discussion may call telephone numbers 440-7657 or 616-3593. And that's the English segment of the news. We now join Marcus in St. Louis for the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi c'est Macpherson Saint-Louis. Premièrement, le gouvernement Dominique a pompé 1,2 million de dollars pour réhabilitation chimique en DLS. Département Public Works commence à travailler à ce projet Salam qui a voué boutique à aller juste la roche. Projet Salam là qui fini, que soulager moun ou Salam qui a expérimenté problème mauvaises conditions. Membre Parlement Honorable Peter Saint-Jean, ensemble et puis une équipe service information gouvernement GIS, visité le projet la semaine passée. Quand même si le chef supervisor projet Salah Clayton John Baptiste, projet Salah a voué travail excavation, dalle et puis aussi pavé chemin là. John Baptiste fait parole qui ont le travail déjà pour place à ce chemin Salam. En même temps aussi, mon Parlement Honorable Peter Saint-Jean fait parole qui est bien plaisir que le travail commence à ce chemin important Salam. Et aussi fait parole, malgré Public Works ne travail Salam, moun de liste tape travail subcontract, bagay qui a mené bénéfice ba yo. Travail qui est expecté pour finir par août, mois d'août. En d'autres nouvelles, Banque nationale Dominique a fait plus aisé pour assister petites entreprises et puis d'autres en Dominique. En Efo Salam, ils ont tapé un loan hard Petro-Caribe qui a servi pour les petites entreprises en Dominique et puis 6,05% la terrain. Officier Petro-Caribe ensemble et puis banque là lancé initiative la journée. Si l'officier Petro-Caribe ancien secrétaire cabinet Félix Grégoire, il a bien plaisir branché et puis Banque nationale Dominique pour initiative cela.
Nous avons prêté pour supporter small business pour ces jeunes gens avec des gens qui sont intéressants pour faire business, qui tapent l'argent and interest rate qui est pas tellement haut pour ça faire business. So nous bien contents nous avons fait ça. Ça c'est Dominican National Petroleum Company. Qui a aidé National Bank of Dominica pour faire ça.
Est-ce que vous avez senti plaisir pour faire ça?
Oui, plaisir pour faire ça parce que vous savez, le gouvernement, les entrepreneurs, comment monde pour faire business, pour employer monde, employer koyo. Si tous ces jeunes monde là qui ont sorti de l'école là, ça fait un petit business pour vendre l'argent pour koyo. Et mais pour payer parce que le gouvernement peut que ni pour garder pour travailler bah tous ces monde ça là il y a employé quoi yo et que ça fait un business pour aider country parce que plus business nous en Dominique c'est mais pour payer parce que on est compétitif on les monde qui produce comprendre monde pour produce monde pour spontané yo avec l'argent yo avec training aussi monde pour train quoi yo pour yo service business ça pour yo faire quoi yo meilleur depuis yo fait quoi yo meilleur payer OK qui meilleur aussi so nous bien content nous ca aider National Bank en programme ça là.
Monsieur Anthony John c'est chairman Banque nationale Dominique.
Banque nationale Dominique a lancé un programme là nous ça prêter mon business l'argent pour aider yo. Comme ça, est bien difficile pour les gens qui ont fait business en Dominique taper l'argent. Et banque là, ouais ça, et nous avons fait l'argent là. Comment ça dit? Ces gens là, ça tape l'argent ça là, pour ça faire business au premier. Et c'est National Petroleum Company Limited qui a NBD l'argent ça là. Qui nous a servi pour aider mon business en Dominique. C'est mon qui ni business qui petit, c'est pas ces grand business là nous ka garder compte. C'est ces petit business là et c'est autant fois ces petit business là c'est yo qui ni plus difficulté les pour taper l'argent c'est l'autre banque là. l'intérêt sur l'argent c'est bien haut et banque là a fait à 6% et demi pour faire plaisir pour mon qui est petit business. On tape ça l'argent ça là pour ça faire business au primaire.
En notre nouvelle pêche one the big store ni on l'occasion à présent pour cacher équipement et puis bateau ailleurs en temps mauvais temps. Yon facilité ça ou quoi on slipway qui coûte plus que $100,000 bâti pour ça. Ministre pêche et puis membre parlement honorable Dr. Kenneth Darrow qui a fait parole qui développement Neuf Salam c'est une autre manifestation gouvernement tient commitment assister pêche en pays là. Quand même honorable Darrow aussi fait parole qui facilite ça là c'est un plaisir plan qui n'est pour un store. Et il aussi ni plan bâti on facilite poisson en tant qu'avenir. Honorable Darrow qui a aussi fait parole qui pêche en salam déjà commencé à bénéficier de la station Petro-Caribe qui a tient opération Fond Saint-Jean. Pêche en salam qui a tapé profit de gaz et puis diesel yo potué pour assister yo. Et puis finalement, République Argentine qui a financé traitement pour teacher l'école primaire et puis secondaire apprendre espagnol à l'école. Gouvernement Dominique a fait application République Argentine pour ça. Une délégation République Argentine en Dominique semaine passée tient assessment bagaille l'école Dominique en affaires langage espagnol comme un sujet étranger. Officier ministre éducation République Argentine, Leonor Corradi, fait parole qu'initiative ça c'est pour promouvoir la coopération entre ces deux pays-là. Il dit Argentine bien plaisir pour aider Dominique en Efosalam. Projet ça qui est implémenté en de l'année. Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelles en créole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est Macpherson St. Louis. Au revoir.
When we come back, we'll bring you a few upcoming events and the government notices. Do stay with us. Time now for a few government notices. All concerned are asked to note the following hurricane shelters and shelter managers for the communities of Granby, Tetmon and Pishley. In Granby, you have 6 hurricane shelters. They are the Granby Roman Catholic Church, where the shelter manager is Davidson Charles and his assistant is Christopher Noel. The lower floor of the Granby Community Center, shelter manager Avondale Schillingford, assistant manager Rodney Lockhart. The Granby Pentecostal Church, Roy Moses, is the shelter manager. The Granby Church of Christ, the shelter manager there is Mignon Morancy. The Granby Church of God, Seventh-day Adventist, where the shelter manager is Lynn Johnwis. And the Granby Primary School, shelter manager Simbud Henry, assistant Davidson Henry. In Tetmon, the hurricane shelters are the Tetmon Resource Center. The shelter manager there is Shirley John Lewis and her assistant is Claudia Thomas. And the Tetmon Roman Catholic Church, where the shelter manager is Maricent Warrington. In Pishley, your hurricane shelters are the Pishley Government School. The shelter manager is Marilyn Liffam. The House of Joachim Paquet, shelter manager is Joachim Paquet, and assistant manager Philomen Paquet. The Pishley Good News Baptist Church, shelter manager Hamlet Bellot, assistant shelter manager Christopher Paquet. The residents of Girodale are invited to a disaster preparedness meeting to be held at the Girodale Eggleston Community Hall from 6 p.m. on Tuesday, July 17, 2012. Please make every effort to attend and to be on time. The Ministry of Education wishes to inform the general public of its collection and distribution of textbooks for the 2012-2013 school year as follows. For students attending all forms of the Pierre Charles Secondary School, you are asked to collect your textbooks on Tuesday, July 17 from the GSP building located in Bath Estate from 8:30 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. Students attending all forms of the Wesley High School and the Dominica Community High School, your textbooks may be collected at the GSP building located in Bath Estate from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Wednesday, July 18. Please be guided accordingly. Up next, your tip of the day. Make healthy eating and physical activities fun. Take advantages of physical activities you and your friends enjoy doing together and eat the foods you like. Be adventurous. Try new sports, games and other activities as well as new foods. You'll grow stronger, play longer and look and feel better. And that's National Focus. As usual, we invite your suggestions or comments. Feel free to drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm, or you could visit our website at news.gov.dm, or you could visit our GIS Dominica pages on YouTube and Facebook. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Mervin Matthew. Thank you for watching.
Boy, that fish was well seasoned today, boy.
Talking about season.
Yeah.
What is the most important season in Dominica?
Mango season, yampe season, hunting season.
Hey, wait.
Fishing season.
Nothing to do with any of these seasons. You remember what happened to us in 1979?
Yes.
Remember a few years ago when we bought a grain of fig for $1?
Yes.
I'm talking about the hurricane season.
Mm-hmm. So, prepare. And so just like your budget or your bank account, preparation for hurricane or hurricane preparedness is supposed to be part of our natural culture. It does happen, it might happen, maybe it will happen.
The way we build our houses, you know, so that you not have to go to somebody's house. You know, during a hurricane, you know how it is. People want to bring their cat and their dog and their... You want to go into all this, you cannot ask.
You know, and then you stay too long, you got put on your radio too low, the bagay comes out.
Naturally, if your house is not safe, know your hurricane shelter.
So here's a very important point. Come a little closer. A little closer. Here it is. You can replace your TV or your microwave or your black, blue or raspberry, but you cannot replace your life. Your life is important and is irreplaceable. So protect yourself, take the necessary precaution, because there's only one of you and one of me.
And why should you survive a hurricane? I mean, you survive the storm and then go and go be all about and step on a live wire. That making sense?
It is your right and your responsibility to protect yourself and your family and your property. Remember, I ain't seen no supermarket in Dominica where they're selling spare parts of human body or human parts.
No breasts,
no thighs,
no legs,
no wings,
no, only human parts.
Yes, and you only have one of you and it come complete. So protect yourself
at all times.
This is a serious message
from
the Office of Disaster Management
or Office là qui va se consacrer au management des astres
in Dominica.